there are people that I really like giving some interviews these days. Ron Killings being one of them, talking to our pal Shaq Majuri about how the Ron Killings story ended when John Cena came back and became good guy John Cena again. I'm like, truth, our truth came back as an about face to everything John Cena did. Why are you telling us that it was the logical conclusion to something that was made as an about face because they were just done with the John Cena heel turn? Good soldier. Natty, love Natty to bits. She is fantastic. Sean's about to do an interview with her about her upcoming book tour. She's coming to Toronto on that book tour as well. I'm debating going and just seeing how big of a reaction that she gets on this book tour. She's going to the biggest mall in the city. Natty sat down with CVV and basically talked about like, I re-signed my contract and then they didn't bring me on because Paul kept saying he wanted to have something big for me, and then when he didn't, I decided to reassess my everything, and then I went to him and said, oh, what if I do Bloodsport? And he was all about it, and I was so thankful. And I'm like, what the fuck? No, you re-signed the contract expecting more, and you had to make your opportunities for yourself after being in this company for 20 years with the express intent of building upon your legacy and your stop being a good soldier. I get that these people are also the people who have been with the company for 20 years, but Jesus Christ, I hate it sometimes. I hate the game sometimes, and I think it's just they're doing some of these people more dirty than they should. Sometimes being a good soldier just bites you in the ass. C1 Holland, Ridge.
People should just stop talking.
It'd make your life and your job a lot easier in some ways, wouldn't it?
Should just stop talking.
By the way, shout out to Chris because the Van Vliet interview with Natty is fantastic. It really is. Some of the things she had to say to get out there it enraged me because I know that she works so hard and deserves so much more. But again, she has to play the game like everyone else is. It's so enraging.
They're saying things to where they're not gonna ruffle any feathers, get in trouble,
Yep.
or anything like that. Like, all right, I I understand where they're coming from. They're getting paid. Why are they going to disparage and say anything bad about the company that they work for? At the same time, the company doesn't care about you. We just saw it with Cross. We saw it. Like, the Jasmine Nix interview was eye opening. Of they offered her the same money that she signed for 3 years ago, even though she'd been on television for 2 years and done TNA dates and like was part of Fatal Influence. You can say what you want about Jasmine Nix. If you weren't a fan of her work, if you didn't see her progressing past a certain level, if you didn't think that she was gonna amount to much of anything past Fatal Influence, okay, that's your opinion on it. It's wrestling. They can book her however she wants. But to be like, hey, in 3 years, despite the fact that you have done all of this and we have utilized you in such a way, we are not going to give you more money. Like, I don't blame her for leaving. It's like, what? Why am I going to stick around here when, all right, you're using me pretty well, but you're not going to pay me more? Like she said, everything's going up. Cost of living is going up. So if you're not getting more money, if you're not getting a raise, then you're losing money because the rest of the world is asking for more on these things. So you got to ask for a little bit more. It's just bullshit to me that she was utilized in a certain way. Clearly they had plans for her and they thought enough of her to give her these opportunities. And then they turn around and they say, yeah, we're going to give you the same deal we gave you 3 years ago when you had zero wrestling experience. Like, if you didn't want to use her moving forward and that's why you gave her the same money, I don't blame her for just being like, why am I going to take this? Like, you're basically telling me where I stand, and I expect a little bit more out of things. I got to get a little bit more out of things. I don't know what's next for Jasmine Nix. She says she wants to continue her career, which Maybe she does on the independent scene. She wants to do reality television. We might see her pop up there. Like we shall see. But I don't blame her for being like, you're not going to give me more money. It's the same reason I don't blame Cross for being like, how did we get here? How did you get to this conclusion? Because here's the conclusion I would like to make. And they're like, well, offer rescinded. It's like, we're not going to have a discussion about this? You're going to tell me that the book deal has no effect, even though you guys are getting money off of this? I'm selling this many books and I got to give a cut to you? And it's bullshit tactics.
It's amazing that a 2.5% increase on a salary couldn't be given for cost of living. That is typically what you can expect as a cost of living increase. It's so tiny and it's so marginal that to be told, nah, you get what you get, is absolutely, it's a slap in the face. It's like we value you here and we don't want you to ever think that you're better than we think you are. And I absolutely, it drives me bonkers, drives me nuts. The one thing Jasmine mentioned, and I'm sure that she probably looks back at as like, I probably could have done this differently, was doing it by herself and not having an agent. But that's something that comes with just experience and time.
But
she negotiated herself. She didn't
no, I know.
And I'm not faulting her for it. I'm just saying that that's something that jumped out at me was she tried to do it on her own.
But what does that accomplish if you have an agent and WWE is not going to budge on their offer? An agent's not going to have
Depends on the agent,
budge on the offer. Like,
depends on the agent, pal.
Maybe, but I don't think WWE wants to deal with agents anyway. Like, they're more likely to be like, all right, we'll figure it out with you and work with you on this. I feel like they're less likely to be like, oh wait, this agent is trying to dick us around. This agent is asking for more. No. We're not gonna acquiesce and succumb to some agent. So maybe an agent gets you a little bit more out of this, but like if there was no negotiation and there was no like anything there, I mean, maybe the agent could have gotten her less dates, something like that, but for the same amount of money, but she wanted more money. And if they weren't going to budge on how much money they were going to give, I don't know how much an agent was really going to change all of that. Because the agent would have come back and be like, hey, we want this amount. And WWE would be like, no. And then we're at the same impasse.
But a good agent can also say, we're talking to this company, and we know this company will pay a base of this. And an agent has access to some information and some numbers that maybe someone who's not an agent would not think to bring up in negotiation. To bring up, I deserve this because I'm better than this, or I have proven, like, it's one thing to advocate for yourself. And I will always say advocate for yourself 100%. But there are some angles that an agent can take that you don't necessarily take yourself, because either you don't know or you're not speaking the language that they're expecting you to speak when you push back for more money. That's where I'm coming from. And again, I said it once, I'll say it again. Nyx doing what she did was in complete faith of her ability, and she deserves that. Even a cost of living increase, if she had given that and that was enough, if that was enough for her, that's great. I think she's going to look back and she's going to say, the only thing I could have done differently was maybe have an agent. And that's it. And it could have maybe made a little dent of a difference. I'm not saying it would have been the difference between, 70,000 and 170,000, but it does add to your interest to have someone represent you and make you present as someone worth fighting for, or at least fighting to retain in this case with WWE. But
I agree. I understand where you're coming from on that. I guess I'm looking at it from the WWE side, where I think if they don't value you, even if you have an agent, even if you have any of that, they do not care. And I think they've shown that they don't value Jasmine Nyx. They don't value Karrion Kross. And that's why they're just like, all right, no, we're not really going to negotiate. Like, here's our offer. That's it. And so they're going to move on from that. Kross, there was no real negotiation there. And both of them have said this, Kross and Jasmine Nyx. They're speaking to a mediator. They're speaking to just whoever, some middle person. If they are valued you're talking with Nick Khan, someone important out there, and then maybe you can get back. And I mean, Nick Khan talked to R-Truth after every happened. R-Truth actually got back in there. But like, if you're just speaking to a mediator, it feels like the mediator has the direction of this is what you were getting, this is where we stand, and it doesn't matter who's on the other side representing the wrestler. They have their marching orders of don't budge. This is what we're willing to give them, and that's going to be that. I could be wrong, and you're making good points when it comes to the agent, and maybe the agent can create more of a market and, like you said, kind of bring up things that the wrestler might not be able to bring up. But my argument is that, like, if WWE just don't see the value in you in that way, I don't care who represents you or who's speaking for you. That's going to be their thing. And Alexa Bliss Gamer, of course, bring up Alexa Bliss had an agent. Yeah, Alexa Bliss had leverage too, because Alexa's an actual star. No offense to Jasmine Nix, she had her slot. And you see what happened. And they kicked her off television, and Laney Reed comes in and fills that spot immediately. Karrion Kross had his spot. You see what happened. They just put Aleister Black with his wife. Like, Alexa Bliss.
They gave 6 guys to replace him.
Alexa Bliss had actual leverage because Alexa Bliss was an actual star. And so she would use an agent for that manner and actually get more out of what she could, where maybe representing herself wouldn't have been the best idea. No offense to Nix, Cross. Some of these people are just, they're at where they're at. That's where WWE sees them. And whether you got an agent or not, they're going to move on.
Yeah, I think both sides are absolutely true. And it's Nix. Maybe it wasn't even about leverage for more money as much as it was, I'm showing you growth. I'm showing you that I'm here and that I'm doing a good job, and I deserve a little bit more from that. But clearly WWE felt otherwise. And like you said, Laney Reed, you're in, baby. You just get to go and take that opportunity. And same thing with Cross, and same thing with anyone who leaves the company. They can immediately be replaced. That's the cog in the wheel. That's what they do. That's what the ID and the and all of the other programs that they have going on can accomplish. Just proof that you are only as big as we make you. But again, I think if you have leverage, or if you are someone who believes in your capabilities, then you keep pushing for yourself. You deserve to at least push back when someone says the market sees you here, and you say, no, I'm better than that.
This is factually not true. She was not hurt most of the time. She came in and had knee injuries from soccer. She had the broken nose, and they did the whole mask gimmick and everything. But from February 20, actually, you know, we'll go further back than that. From August 2023, and this is going to be terrible radio, so I apologize. August 2023 is when she made her debut. She wrestled August, September, October, November, December. Didn't wrestle January 2024. February 2024, she wrestled. February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. January 2025, she wrestled. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, got released. She missed 1 month. 1 month since making her debut. January 2024. That was the only time she did not wrestle. Otherwise, she wrestled every single month since debuting in August 2023. So this injury thing is bullshit.
I have a pitch for Jasmine Nix for her indie run. April, May, June gets a huge pop because that is also worth mentioning. Jasmine goes on the indies. She goes on a run, but she's looking for somebody. She's looking for someone, and no one knows who it is. She's looking all over the indies. She has no idea. Nobody knows. She knows who she's looking for until one day she steps in to Mystery Wrestling. And that's where she finds him. Her long-lost brother, Cecil Nix. Jasmine Nix reunited with her long-lost brother Cecil, and they dominate independent wrestling together as a new tag team. They are the Nixes, and they will nix you up, baby.
Who is Cecil Nix?
Have you never watched Mystery? He's the dude who does all the fun comedy bits, does all the fun comedy matches. He is like Uno's #2 guy in Mystery.
Oh.
Yeah.
I watch bits and pieces of Mystery. I don't watch full shows. My
That's
bad.
fair. But he's the one who does like the funny shit. So at the Toronto show, he did the match with the all bags, all bags count. And that was him. And any of the funny, any of the like really, really funny over the top shit, that's Cecil. So Cecil and Jasmine, they run this shit. That's what I want.
Okay. All right.